it's Chelsea here from the Bowmanville Older Adult Association. We're here today to celebrate the life of Robbie Burns, virtually and online of course. We know that things look very different in terms of community and social events, and here at the BOAA, we're committed to providing you with safe and exceptional programs and events in order to best serve our members and the community. We have put together a not-so-traditional Robbie Burns service for you, and we hope that you enjoy from the safety of your homes. Known in medieval Celtic culture as a storyteller, verse maker, and composer, the word bard has become synonymous with the world's greatest poets. However, few are as celebrated as Scotland's own national bard, Robert Burns, who we pay tribute to on January 25th each year at the BOAA. So, in true Scottish fashion, we ask that you sit back, relax, and enjoy with your choice of beverage, ready to toast the man, Robbie Burns.
Laddies and lassies, please be upstanding as we welcome the arrival of the Haggis.
Now, wasn't that wonderful piping by our piper, Shirley Park? I think it's time to pay the piper. Please raise your glass in a toast to the piper. Now, without further ado, the Haggis. Fair fa ye honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the puddin' race. Abune the maw ye take your place, pinch, tripe, or Therell, weel are ye worthy of a grace, as lang as my arm. The groaning trencher, there ye fill, your hardies like some distant hill, your pin would help to mend a mill in time of need, and through your pores the dews distill, like amber bead. His knife, see rustic labour decked, and cut ye open wi' ready slick, trenching your gushing entrails brecht like ony ditch. And then, what a wondrous sight, warm, reeking, rich. While horn for horn they'll stretch and strive, deal take the hindmost, on they'll drive, till a' their wheel-swallowed kites belie are bent like drums, and auld good men maist like to rive. We thank it hums. Is there the oor his French ragout, or Olio would stow a sou, and fricassee would make her spew with perfect skinner? Look down with sneer and scorn for your view and sick a dinner. Poor devil, see him o'er his trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shank a good whiplash, his knee knit through bloody flood and field to dash. Oh, how unfit! But mark, the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread, clapping his wally knee a blade, he'll make it whistle, and legs and arms and heats will sned like taps of thistle. Ye powers that mak mankind your care and dish them up their daily fare, all Scotland wants nae skinking ware that jaups and luggies. But if you wish her grateful prayer, gie her the haggis. Ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses, please. The haggis. Thank you.
Laddies and lassies, please give a round of applause for the lads guarding the haggis so that it did not run away. Even though it is from a previous year, thank you, Don Welsh and Terry Kelsey. And wasn't that an excellent piping by Shirley Park? A wonderful rendition of the address to the haggis. And I'm not just saying that because she is my beautiful wife, Pauline Calvert.
A Burns celebration is never complete without a wee bit history about the great bard himself. Today, that honour has been bestowed on the best wee Scotsman in the world. Of course, my husband, John Burns.
Immortal memory. What do we mean by immortal memory? It means that the memory will live forever. There are many whose memories are immortal. For example, William Shakespeare, Johann Strauss, Mozart, Leonardo da Vinci, and many more. All of these famous people are remembered for their work, be it art, poetry, or music. Yet, there is not a day in the year which celebrates any of them all around the world. But there is for Robert Burns. You have to ask why. It's surely not the case that the others do not deserve it. So again, the question, why Robert Burns? Remember, he is celebrated all over the world, even in communist countries such as Russia and China. And, surprise, surprise, even in England, which is strange, considering a lot of his works were very nationalistic, patriotic rants in reference to the past subjugation of the Scots by the English. Let us try to understand why. When he wrote in the language and dialect of the Scottish people. He wrote about what he could see around him, which was not always sweetness and light. He went to great lengths to highlight poverty and inequality. He wrote about loves found and loves lost, and there were many. He wrote about the troubled past of Scotland's history and inspired patriotism and nationalism. At one time, an inquiry was launched by the English government into his political conduct on the basis that he may be a threat to the union and peace. He was a people's poet, since they could easily relate to what he wrote. Strangely, however, he also appealed to the richer upper classes and was in big demand at their social gatherings after he had gained some fame and notoriety. He appealed to their wilder side, and he was a very eloquent speaker. He said at the time, "Though to be rich I did not wish, yet to be great was charming." His notoriety was partly due to his drinking and behaviour with women. He was a bit of a boy. This got him into trouble with the church on many occasions. Burns just could not help himself when it came to women. He was extremely promiscuous from an early age. He was clearly very much a charmer. The list of his lovers seems endless. The poems and songs he wrote in regards to his found loves and his lost loves show a tremendous depth of feeling. He talks about his lack of restraint and also his pangs of conscience. While his published works were full of deep feelings and sentiment, he wrote other works which were too rude to be published at the time. These were poems and stories which he kept for the times when he was getting drunk with his cronies in the pub called Pussy Nancy's. He was never rich and continually in debt, and tried to operate a farm on land that was totally unsuitable. Combine this with his drinking and womanizing, it took its inevitable toll on his health, eventually leading to an early death at the age of 37. You can see that Burns was many things to many people. Personally, I would say he was a likeable rogue. For whatever reasons we choose to immortalise the memory of Robert Burns and celebrate that memory every year, I am surely glad that we do. Let's drink a toast to the likeable rogue, to Robert Burns.
To Robert Burns. Well done, an immortal memory indeed. Thank you, John. Now, lassies, you're in for a treat as our very own Tom Shotton will revere his appreciation for the fairer sex.
Hi, I'm Tom, the crazy maintenance guy at BOAA. I have a confession to make. I'm not Scottish. I'm an Englishman. Although I believe I have some Scottish in me, which when my DNA results get returned from Ancestry, I will know for sure. My reasons for this are, I've been told my one grandfather came from Scotland. I have not proved that yet. Also, I like the pipes and drums. Wherever I've lived or worked, I've made Scottish friends. I also like a bit of haggis, if you put lots of gravy on it. Okay, let's start with a woman's place. Sensible advice to womenfolk preparing for their husband's return from work. This is from May the 13th, 1954. Issue of Housekeeping Monthly. So it was a little bit before I was born and times have changed a little bit. Take 15 minutes to rest so you'll be refreshed when he arrives. touch up your makeup, put a ribbon in your hair and be fresh looking. Be a little gay and a little more interesting for him. His boring day may need a lift, and one of your duties is to provide it. At the time of his arrival, eliminate all noise of the washer, dryer or vacuum. Try to encourage the children to be quiet. Listen to him. You may have a dozen important things to tell him, but the moment of his arrival is not the time. Let him talk first. Remember, his topic of conversations are more important than yours. Make the evening ease. Never complain. He comes home late or goes out to dinner or other places of entertainment without you. Instead, try to understand his world of strain and pressure. Arrange his cushion and offer to take off his shoes. Speak in a low, soothing voice. Don't ask him questions about his actions. Remember, he's the master of the house, and as such will always exercise his will with fairness and truthfulness. You have no right to question him. Now we've got some before and afters. B, before, and A, after marriage. B, you take my breath away. A, I feel like I'm suffocating. She says she loves the way I take control of the situation. A, she calls me controlling. B, Saturday night fever. A, Wednesday night football. B, the sound of music. A, the sound of silence. B, I feel like $1 million. A, if I had a penny for every stupid thing she's done. B, it's like I am in a dream. A, it's like she's in a dream. B, we agree on everything. A, she doesn't have a mind of her own. B, ideal. A, idle. B, I love a woman with curves. A, I never said you were fat. B, she's completely lost without me. A, why won't she ever ask for directions? And B, time stood still. A, this relationship is going nowhere. And finally, for the toast, I've got a poem to read. It's not one of Robbie Burns, but this should do. Well, thanks to our friend Neville, I'm standing here today. He captured me down in his shop as I reached out to pay. He said, I have a job for you, and you're 12 weeks to prepare. I thought, my God, he wants his toenails clipped or out to dye his hair. Now, a toast that's for the ladies. Lord, wherever will I start? He said, that's nothing rude and nothing crude, something from the art. So I scratched my head and searched my soul. I wasn't getting far. It seems that Nellie's harsh restrictions took out half my repertoire. Anyway, oh, the bard, he loved the ladies, and oh, how they loved him back. Seems a poem is all it took those days to get them in the sack. No wonder he liked writing of the love that's hid within, which explains his savvy and healthy look and how he kept so trim. If only he were like that now, I'd write for all I'm worth, grabbing every chance I could each day to nail another verse. And my wife, she would be pleased for me. At all my new attention, I'd be thin from running, scared from too much pain to mention. Now my business took me roaming to each corner of Great Britain, so I catalogued the ladies, just the ones I was smitten. Well, Welsh girls, they took hours to please, and the Irish take some beating. And the English girls are very, very nice, if your ears can take their bleating. Ah, but Scottish girls are best by far, as steady as a rock. But if by chance your eye should stray, you'll wake without your manhood. So I married one, with no regrets, best move I've ever made yet. And I love her dear, with all my heart, in a life with no regret. For like the bard, I settled down when love could get no hotter. But compared him to him and his wondrous works, sure I'm just a ditty jotter. Oh sweet ladies, you are so dear to us. Where would we be without you? In wrinkled clothes and motley beards in a house of straw and cow poo. Without you we would just exist, watching football in a bar. Just sitting, drinking, laughing, eating, drinking and sleeping in the car. Dear sweet ladies, we don't kid ourselves. We know you have us beat, hence why we hold the doors for you and the chairs each time you sit. We love to do the chivalrous stuff, it makes us look the strongest. You see, we have to make the most of things, you live the flipping longest. Well, at last it's time for me to stop and give you chance to mingle. And I'll make peace with my dear wife before I'm Facebook status single. Now gentlemen, I ask you all, please charge and raise your glasses and join me in a bumper toast to the beauty of the Lassies.
Very well said, Tom. I'm sure all of the laddies totally agree with your sentiments. As usual, you lassies demand the opportunity to reply to this. So please welcome BOAA member Lynda Mayes, who will skillfully reap revenge for the lassies.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Scottish folk to whom this ritual is familiar and to non-Scottish folk who are still trying to figure out what's in a haggis, I extend to you a warm virtual welcome. The Toast to the Lassies is a speech by a man with a humorous take on womankind and all their wonders. This part was easy for John because, as we know, there is a lot that men wonder about us. And the reply for the lassies is generally by a female trying to find something nice to say about men. And I will warn you here that this address contains extremely sexist material because it's supposed to. Now, Robbie Burns had a taste for women, and as we know, he loved women. In fact, without women in his life, he never would have written a single word. He said, "I never had the least thought or inclination of turning poet until I got heartily in love. Then rhyme and song became the spontaneous language of my heart." Robbie was a huge champion of women. He adored them, and some would say that he adored too many at one time. But adored them he did in poem after poem dedicated to us lassies. He was also a philanderer and can be seen as a shining example that men can indeed multitask, with an impressive record of 12 children by 4 women in 13 years. His wife, Jean Armour, bore him 9 children and brought up his illegitimate children as her own. She kept house for him, cleaned up after him, encouraged him, inspired him, nursed him as he lay dying, and above all, she forgave him. But for all Robbie was a philanderer, he was a great believer in the rights of women and quite rightly held us socially and intellectually as equals. He championed women, ridiculed privilege and position, and stood up for people whose lives stank of poverty and injustice. And unlike our modern man, Robbie was not obsessed with how women looked as he wrote of his wife. It isna Jane thy bonny face nor shape that I admire, although thy beauty and thy grace might weel a walk desire. Something in ilka part o' thee to praise, to love I find, but dear as is thy form to me, still dearer is thy mind. Some 200 years ago, Robbie felt strongly about women being held as equals. He wrote a poem titled The Rights of Women, and it reads, while Europe's eye is fixed on mighty things, the fate of empires and the fall of kings, while quacks of state must each produce his plan, and even children lisp the rights o' man, amid this mighty fuss just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. But if Burns thought we were equal in the 18th century, then why today do women still have to do the same thing twice as well to be considered half as good? Now look at Fred Astaire, probably the best dancer ever, but how about Ginger? Now there's a lassie that did everything he did, but Ginger did it backwards in a frock wearing high heels. I think we all agree that women have come a long way since the 1700s. I want to read for you a few snippets from a housekeeping monthly magazine giving some advice to women in 1955. Now listen to this rubbish. Take 15 minutes to rest so you'll be refreshed when he arrives. Touch up your makeup, put a ribbon in your hair, be a little gay, because this will be more interesting for him. At the time of his arrival, eliminate all noise of the washer and vacuum and try to encourage the children to be quiet. But this is my absolute favourite gem. Listen to him. You may have a dozen important things to tell him, but the moment of his arrival is not the time. Let him talk first. Remember, his topics of conversation are more important than yours. Make the evening his. Never complain when he comes home late or goes out to dinner or other places of entertainment without you. Instead, try to understand his world of strain and pressure. Arrange his cushion and offer to take off his shoes. Speak in a low, soothing, and pleasant voice. Don't ask him about his actions. Remember, he is the master of the house and you have no right to question him. Seriously? But although women pandered to their husbands some 60 years ago, we know that things have changed. For example, there are subtle ways of letting the laddie in your life know that you are not going to be subservient any longer. For example, fine really means it's far from fine. It's nothing means it definitely is something. Go ahead. This is a dare and not permission. Oh, you think so, do you? Means think again. That's okay really means we're already thinking of revenge. And if we say that's okay with our arms folded, it means we've already thought of revenge and it's going to hurt. But for all this joking, Burns was a truly wonderful and inspiring poet, Scotland's national hero, no less. I'm going to leave you with a few lines from perhaps one of Burns' most well-known and much-loved poems, A Fond Kiss. Had we never loved so kindly, had we never loved so blindly, never met or never parted, we had ne'er been broken-hearted. So to the lassies here, I invite you to raise your glasses, and to those gentlemen with us today, without whom we'd ne'er be broken-hearted, but without whom we would also never love or be loved so kindly. To the laddies, God bless Lynda.
Wow, well done, Lynda. I'm sure the lassies will agree that you have very clearly and effectively put the laddies in their place. Thank you, Lynda. And now, without further ado, it's time to eat. So please stand while we say the Selkirk Grace. Some hae meat and canna eat. Some wad eat that want it. But we hae meat and we can eat. And say the Lord be thanked.
Well, laddies and lassies, all good things must at some point come to an end. So without further ado, and on behalf of all of us who took part, we hope that you have enjoyed our performance as much as we have enjoyed presenting it, although very different this year, and we look forward to being together again next year.
By yon castle wall at the close of the day, I heard a man sing, though his head it was grey. And as he was singing, the tears done came. There'll never be peace till Jamie comes home. The church is in ruins, the state is in jars. Delusions, oppressions, and murderous wars. We dare now, we'll say it, but we can was to blame. There'll never be peace till Jamie comes home. My 7 braw sons for Jamie drew sword, but now I greet round their green beds in the yard. It'll break the sweetheart of my faithful old dame. There'll never be peace till Jamie comes home. Now life is a burden that bows me down, sin I tint my bairns and he tint his crown. But until my last moments the words are the same. There'll never be peace till my Jamie comes home.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed our virtual Robbie Burns event from all of us here at the BOAA to all of you at home. A big thank you to everyone who made this online event possible and such a success, from our amazing speakers to our behind the scenes team. Now it's time for you to enjoy some good food, good whiskey if you like, and good cheer in true Burns style. But wait, there's still one more song to be sung.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet. For old lang syne, and surely you'll be your pint stoup, and surely I'll be mine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet. For old lang syne, We twa hae run about the braes and put the gowans fine, but we've wandered round on many a fit sin old lang syne. We twa hae paddled in the burn frae morning sun till dine, but seas between us braid hae roared sin old lang syne. And there's a hand, my trusty fear, and gaze a hand o' thine. We'll tack a right get willy walk for old lang syne, for old lang syne, my Joe, for old lang syne. We'll tack a cup o' kindness yet for old lang